My hands, slick with engine oil, lost their grip on the tool as my girl's sharp words sliced the darkness, piercing me deeper than any knife. Father, you're clueless. Mother's finished with the domestic act for your sake. 2 decades trapped indoors, while you pursued that sorry excuse for a venture. Naturally, she craves satisfaction from a genuine partner, and she picked Uncle Jake since he ignites her sense of allure, and he's constantly nearby. Frankly, I prefer him as my father, over a failure like you. I stood rigid beneath the truck's bonnet, lubricant smearing my palms, pulse thundering in my chest. 23 years wedded, and this is the revelation's manner, not straight from spouse Sarah, not via stumbling upon them entwined, but delivered by my bloodkin, hurled at me like discarded refuse from the day prior. The shed entrance gaped slightly, allowing a glimpse into our cooking area via the pane. Sarah lingered there in her satin top, the lavish gift I'd given for our milestone celebration just weeks ago, agreeing silently while daughter Emma pressed on with her brutal takedown. Mother warrants superior to this shack. Emma waved at our simple dwelling. Jake owns that swanky flat in the city center, operates a reliable vehicle, genuinely maintains his appearance. Father's simply pitiful. Sarah's tone held gentleness, yet it reached me clearly. Emma, dear, it's intricate. Your dad and me. What's intricate? You're miserable. Jake brings you joy. Dad's a laughingstock locally regardless. Everybody's aware his enterprise is crumbling. My enterprise, the building firm I'd raised from scratch, laboring 18 hours daily across 20 years, crumbling. We'd endured a tough spell amid the outbreak, admittedly, but recovery was underway. I rubbed my palms against my trousers and edged nearer the glass, remaining concealed in the dimness. Sarah filled a goblet with wine. The premium vintage, unlike the bargain jug we'd sipped together on Saturdays. Your dad toils diligently, Sarah remarked, though doubt laced her words. Emma chuckled. Diligent at what? His rig predates my birth. When did he last escort you to a posh spot? Jake ferried you to that elegant eatery in the metropolis last Saturday? Last Saturday when Sarah claimed a professional seminar. Jake comprehends me, Sarah murmured. He attends when I discuss my files, my aspirations. Your dad merely mumbles and switches the broadcast. I recalled those nights when Sarah returned from her legal aid role, buzzing about documents and workplace intrigue. Perhaps I'd disengaged. Following endless hours managing builders and approvals, further chatter was the furthest from my desires. Yet my sibling Jake, he paid heed. Moreover, Jake's locks aren't receding, Emma tacked on with a vicious snicker. Instinctively, I brushed my fingers over my sparse mane. 45 years on Earth, and indeed, I no longer resembled the youth Sarah wed right after secondary school. But damn, she had aged beyond her teenage self too. Emma, enough. Your dad's no villain. He's merely... We've evolved into distinct individuals. Fine. I'm merely noting, if divorce is inevitable, proceed before my final school term. I don't desire the upheaval impacting my university bids. Divorce. The term struck me akin to a mallet in the stomach. I retreated from the pain, my labor boots grinding the pebble path. Tremors gripped my fingers. Fury or astonishment, indistinguishable. Perhaps a blend. Jake, my younger kin, the favored son who'd glided effortlessly, unburdened, unwed, childless, lavishing funds on personal indulgences. He oversaw a posh dining spot in town, perpetually flush with funds to flaunt, eternally recounting fresh tales of romantic victories. And his current victory claimed my spouse. I perched upon my kit chest, gazing at the partially rebuilt motor ahead. This aged hauler belonged to my father. I'd toiled on its revival for 3 years, tinkering during reflective moments. Presently, it mirrored all my existence's flaws. Antiquated, faulty, demanding endless fixes. The cooking area's illumination faded. I caught Emma's steps ascending the staircase, followed by Sarah's lighter pace toward our sleeping quarters. Our sleeping quarters, where she'd rested beside me nightly, likely musing on Jake. How extended had this persisted? Several months, longer. I extracted my device and reviewed recent communications. Sarah had fielded numerous evening professional summonses of late. Odd how they coincided with my ablutions or outdoor labors. My digit paused above Jake's contact. One urge pushed to dial immediately, to roar demands for clarity, but another instinct, forged over 2 decades in building trades, urged caution. I required facts, solid facts, beyond my girl's offhand malice. The following dawn, I brewed Java and occupied our eating nook as if unaltered. Sarah descended in her professional attire, glancing at her screen. "Good morning," she uttered, eyes averted. "Good morning. Rest well." Adequately. She decanted brew into her portable flask, still dodging my gaze. "I face an extended session this evening. No need to linger awake. Yet another extended session. What session extends beyond 9? Case review rehearsal? The Morrison matter heads to court next week." She brushed her lips against my face. A swift, obligatory graze. "Until later." I lingered until her vehicle departed the lane, then notified work of my absence due to illness. Initial unwell day in 24 months. I motored to Mel's Cafe in the urban core, aware the servers chattered like broadcast journalists. Indeed, Dolores manned the dawn shift. "Tommy, unusual for you midweek. Brew, if you will, and perhaps some insights." Dolores arched a brow. She'd recognized me from secondary school days. Had courted Jake fleetingly ere he sought fairer company. What insights? Those concerning my kin and wedded females. She decanted my brew deliberately, pondering. "Certain you seek the truth, utterly. He's escorted a certain woman here. Stylish sort in that metallic auto. They nestle in the rear alcove, intimate as can be. Metallic auto. Sarah's Honda. Duration. Some months, possibly extended. Tommy, my regrets. I ought to have spoken sooner, but that's not my role. I placed a tenor on the surface and exited. My device vibrated. Message from longtime pal Pete, who helmed the pugilism center across the locale. Absent for weeks. Softening up. Pete's facility, where I'd trained thrice weekly in eras, when fitness seemed vital. Prior to Sarah's frequent tardy returns, prior to solitary suppers and dozing before the screen on the settee. I headed to the center. Pete instructed a youth on the punching sack, issuing sharp directives. "Behold the hermit emerging." Pete noted upon spotting me. "You appear wrecked. Feel abysmal. Spare a moment." We settled in his messy rear chamber. Pete sloshed spirits into a pair of mugs, despite the early hour. "Sarah's unfaithful," I stated bluntly. Pete showed no shock. "With whom?" "Jake." Surprise registered now. "Your sibling Jake." That's icy, even by his measure. You suspected. Observed them at Luigi's last month? Assumed perhaps professional, but he lifted shoulders. "Pal, if seeking counsel, avoid rash acts. That's their anticipation. Elaborate. Consider. They desire your discovery. Crave your outburst. An action painting you villainous. Thus Sarah claims the residence and separation. Jake poses savior. You emerge the dupe. I sipped the spirits. It's scorched, yet less than reality. Then what course? Engage wisely. Let them stew initially, and upon readiness to act, target the vital spots. I passed the midday hours cruising our modest community, viewing it afresh after ages. Medford offered little. 20,000 souls, dual primary avenues, a fading shopping arcade, and churches outnumbering taverns. Yet it was my turf. In such a locale, standing counted heavily. Sarah toiled at Hendricks & Associates, the premier legal practice spanning 3 districts. She'd entered as an aide 2 decades past, ascended to legal aid. Solid earnings, surpassing local norms. Jake directed Antonelli's, the refined Italian venue in the core. It served attorneys, physicians, municipal elites. Fine pay there, augmented by gratuities from affluent patrons, wooing companions. Each had poured into their communal images. Sarah, the driven local lass who'd achieved prominence. Jake, the engaging single who backed town causes and recalled all faces. Images could shatter. I halted before Sarah's workplace edifice and observed. At 5:30, she exited alongside 3 colleagues. They conversed briefly, then dispersed. Sarah bypassed home. She motored to the market, dawdled 20 minutes within, then veered toward Jake's residence block. I trailed discreetly, pulse racing. Upon her halting at Riverside Gardens, the premier lodgings locally, I curbed 2 streets distant and approached on foot. Via the entrance panes, I viewed her in the lift with Jake. No contact but their proximity, her gaze upon him. 23 years united, and she'd never regarded me so. I returned abode and occupied the shed, fixated on father's vintage hauler. The motor neared completion, merely required additional hours' labor. Father had piloted this conveyance 30 years, through peaks and troughs. He'd acquired it brand new in 1985 upon launching his building outfit. The identical outfit I'd assumed and expanded. The same Emma deemed pitiful. My device hummed. Note from Sarah. Laboring tardily. No need to stay roused. I responded, all right, love you. She sent a heart symbol. A blasted heart symbol. I labored on the hauler till midnight, securing fasteners and tuning lines. Bodily exertion aided reflection, aided scheming. By bedtime, a nascent notion formed. The subsequent dawn, I rose pre-sunrise. Sarah had vanished already. Dawn rendezvous, she'd noted. Emma slumbered yet. Her lectures commenced post-noon. I motored to Medford High, my alma mater from 27 years prior. The lot stood deserted save for the upkeep team. I spotted elderly Mr. Peterson, the custodian who'd held the job long before my arrival in the world. Tommy Briggs, it's been ages since I last laid eyes on you. How fares the building trade? It suffices. Mr. Peterson, I'm seeking a bit of assistance. My daughter Emma faces impending university submissions, and I'd like to delight her with an unexpected gift. Perhaps a short clip featuring her peers sharing thoughts on her. How thoughtful. In what way can I assist? I was merely curious if you're aware of the habits young folks have with sharing content on the web nowadays. You know, platforms like social media and such. Peterson chuckled. Goodness, these youngsters broadcast their entire existences across the digital realm. Emma frequently creates those brief clips where she dances and chats about her relatives. She's quite the sensation, that girl. She discusses family matters on there. Absolutely. Only recently she produced a piece centered on her father, you, portrayed as this major source of mortification. It racked up thousands of views. A chill surged through my veins. Thousands. Youths adore that kind of theatrical flair. She ranted about your financial woes and her mother's involvement with another man. Likely mere adolescent folly, though he hesitated, noting my demeanor. Mr. Peterson, might you guide me on locating these clips? 20 minutes on, I perched in my vehicle, viewing my child deriding me for the amusement of her 8,000 TikTok audience. So, my father's essentially a mobile emblem of middle-aged turmoil, Emma remarked to her device's lens, positioned in what appeared to be our home's lounge area. At 45, balding, piloting a vehicle, predating my birth, and convinced he'll ascend to construction titan status. All the while my mother's awakening to her worthier prospects. The footage garnered 12,000 approvals and 600 remarks. I perused them. Your father comes across as a washout. Suggest your mom seek legal separation counsel. Perhaps your father ought to exert more effort. Elderly males prove so lamentable. Additional recordings existed. Scores of them. For months, Emma had chronicled our household's breakdowns, converting our concealed anguish into widespread diversion. A clip from 3 weeks prior captured Emma recording herself in the cooking space as I lingered at the dining surface, perusing the daily print. Here's my father feigning success, she murmured to the lens. Observe, then at higher volume. Dad, what transpired at the site today? I glanced up and muttered regarding approvals and timelines. Observe, Emma murmured. His demeanor rivals that of stone. Small wonder Mom seeks alternatives. Seeking alternatives. Even back then, 3 weeks past, Emma was in the know. I motored back to the residence and discovered Emma in the cooking area, consuming flakes and gliding across her screen. Good morning, Dad. Aren't you due at the job? I'm foregoing the day. We must discuss matters. About what? I placed my device on the surface, displaying her TikTok profile. Concerning this, Emma's complexion paled, then flushed. You lack the authority to monitor me? Monitor. Emma, you shared this openly. 12,000 individuals witnessed you labeling me a flop. Well, if it suits, cease. My tone remained subdued, yet an edge in it compelled her silence. For how long have you been aware of your mother and Jake? I haven't a clue what you reference. Refrain from falsehoods. Not following your kitchen remarks from last night. Emma's resistance eroded. Several months. I observed them linked at the shopping center. They clasped hands. And it never occurred to inform me. Why should it? It's not as if you'd contend for her. You never contend for a soul. That pierced deeply, for it rang accurate. I'd fashioned my existence on evading disputes, maintaining low profile, laboring diligently, and assuming diligence would prevail. Gather your belongings, I instructed. What for? You'll reside with your grandmother temporarily. You lack the power to enforce that. I possess it and shall. You wish to degrade this household digitally. Very well, but not from beneath my shelter. Emma ascended the stairs in a fury, railing against my injustice, my sabotage of her existence. I contacted my mother, outlining the circumstances broadly. Mom posed few inquiries. Having nurtured 2 boys, she grasped domestic upheavals. Deliver her here, Mom advised. Perhaps a brief separation will restore her decorum. Sarah rang during midday. Emma messaged me. She claims you're evicting her. She's bunking with Mom briefly. We require distance. Tommy, what's unfolding? You're behaving oddly. Oddly? In what manner? Remote? Irate? Did an incident occur? Inform me, Sarah. Did an incident occur? A prolonged silence. I failed to grasp your implication. Yet, I believe you do. Return post-shift. We must converse. Impossible this evening. I have cancel it. Arrive by 6 o'clock, or I'll visit your workplace, and we'll discuss there. I disconnected prior to her reply. At 6:15, Sarah's automobile entered our approach. I awaited in the sitting area, clad in my labor attire, clutching an untouched brew. You indicated we required dialogue, Sarah noted, depositing her bag yet remaining upright. For how long? How long? Regarding what? Spare me the utterance, Sarah. Simply disclose the duration. She regarded me for 30 seconds, then sank into her seat like a marionette severed from its lines. 4 months, she breathed. Why him, Jake? I lack certainty. It evolved naturally. At that fundraiser meal in March, you suffered the illness, recall. Jake volunteered transport. We grabbed a beverage post-event and conversed genuinely about literature, films, aspirations ahead, topics we once shared. We persist in conversing. No, Tommy, we ceased. We deliberate timetables, expenses, Emma's academics. When final did you inquire my life's desires? I parted my lips to retort, then comprehended my void. I'm 43, Sarah pressed on. I've devoted half my years to nurturing Emma and bolstering your enterprise. I cherish you, yet romance has faded. It vanished years prior. Thus you opted to entangle with my sibling rather than confide. Sarah recoiled. It wasn't intended thus. How then? Envisioning a divorce request or perpetual secrecy? I planned revelation post-Emma's graduation, her college commencement. I sought to spare her final school phase turmoil. Overdue now. She's disseminated our affairs online for months. I displayed the TikTok contents to Sarah, observing her composure fracture as she beheld our offspring ridiculing me, narrating the liaison like scripted drama. Heavens, Sarah murmured. I was unaware of her actions. She claims she's shielded you, aided your deceptions toward me. Untrue. I never solicited her falsehoods, yet you omitted forbidding them. Sarah wept openly now, cosmetics trailing her face. Tommy, I regret this infliction, yet you wounded me. Daily across 4 months, you returned and falsified to my gaze. You rendered me deranged for doubting. You permitted our child to deem me pitiable as you frolicked domestically with my kin. What response do you seek? I seek your vow to terminate it, to affirm repairability. Sarah eyed me extendedly. Impossible. Unable or unwilling. The pair. Tommy, I'm departing you. I submitted divorce papers yesterday. The space world. Yesterday. I intended disclosure this weekend, but Emma's note on your mother's stay suggested your awareness. You initiated proceedings sans notification. I aimed for the optimal manner moment. I rose, strode to the pane, gazed upon our community. Mrs. Henderson strolled her pet. The Kowalski children shot hoops in their entry. Ordinary folks in routine existences, not witnessing realms shatter on a Thursday dusk. What follows? I queried. My attorney proposes amicable resolution sans excess turmoil. The dwelling, your venture, Emma's guardianship till 18. Your attorney, as if meticulously orchestrated. Tommy, I beseech, I strive for equity. Equity demanded candor. Equity warranted guidance, therapy, or dialogue ere bedding my brother. Sarah rose. I'll lodge at Jake's this night. Further discussion tomorrow post-reflection. Reflection. Sarah, you've declared dissolution and cohabitation with kin. What precise reflection? That perhaps separation benefits us. That apart, joy awaits both. Post-departure, I lingered in the vacant abode, finishing the brew, then 2 additional. Then I summoned Pete. She's pursued divorce, I stated bluntly. Darn, you holding up? Negatory, Pete. Require your aid. Name it. I require mastery in ruthless combat. Pete paused. Certain. That path's irreversible. They ignited the fray. I'll conclude it. Understood. Jim at dawn tomorrow. And Tommy, yes. Shun folly tonight. Whatever brews repose first. I ended the call, surveyed the home. 23 years wedded. And my legacy. Betraying spouse, offspring despising me, enterprise crumbling per local chatter. Perhaps their assessments held. Perhaps I embodied pathos, but alteration beckoned. Dawn next found me at Pete's facility, pre-light. Brew awaited, his visage grave. Share your mindset, he urged. I'm pondering Sarah and Jake's intent to disgrace me openly, ruin my standing, seize dwelling and child. Their scheming spanned months as I toiled relentlessly to sustain unity. Fine. Your counter. Their total forfeiture. Their agony mirroring mine. The locale's populace unveiled to their true natures. Pete inclined affirmatively, measured. Potent ire, harnessed wisely. Intelligence paramount. Forego storming Jake's eatery for fisticuffs. Why abstain? Lest you emerge the unhinged former spouse, them the martyrs. Envision grandeur. Pete, ex-Marine, returned to Medford for the facility. Grasped tactics, endurance, extended maneuvers. Initial step, he declared. Procure intelligence. Genuine intelligence? Curious about their rendezvous spots? Puzzled by the destinations? Aware of their secret liaison? Who's aiding the pair? Who's shielding them from scrutiny? How can you uncover that info? Inquire discreetly among locals. Folks adore spilling secrets, particularly if they believe they're doing a favor. You'd be amazed at the insights from servers and stylists. During the following 7 days, I transformed into a sleuth. I chatted with servers, auto repair folks, store attendants, basically anybody who could have spotted Sarah alongside Jake. Details emerged. They dined at 3 separate eateries, checked into a motel in the adjacent community, and retreated to a lakeside retreat on Lake Morrison owned by one of Jake's pals. It turned out Sarah's closest confidant, Lisa, was in on the romance and had been providing alibis. Lisa handled transactions at the financial institution, holding Sarah's and my joint funds. Word was, Jake had been boasting to his crew about poaching my spouse. The real kicker: nearly every resident in the area had either caught on or harbored suspicions. I was the final one clued in, which painted me as a fool or a pushover. Both labels stung too deeply. Come Friday evening, I headed to Antonelli's. Jake was on duty, schmoozing patrons and embodying the ideal greeter. Spotting my entrance, his complexion drained of color. "Tommy, what's your business here?" Mine stepping out for a word. Jake scanned the dining area, likely wishing a colleague would intervene. Yet the hour was advanced, and diners were wrapping up their dinners. "All right, spare me 5 minutes." I lingered in the lot, pockets stuffed, aiming for nonchalance. Jake emerged displaying phony toughness and contrived empathy. "Listen, Tommy, I get that this is uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. You're betting my spouse, and that's your take. Sarah and I never intended for things to unfold this way. It's simply, it's simply. What? Did your urges just unintentionally lead you into my wife's arms?" Jake's features hardened. "You're missing the context. Lay it out for me. Sarah's endured dissatisfaction for ages. You're aware of that, aren't you? She senses confinement, neglect, undervaluation. She merits more than returning to a man who scarcely notices her presence. So you stepped up to deliver more. I chose to offer what you withheld. Engagement, dialogue, passion. Recall the last occasion you escorted her to a fine venue. The last time you complimented her allure. The harshest truth hit home. He had a point. I'd grown slack, satisfied with the status quo. I'd figured toiling diligently and supporting the household sufficed. Fair enough, I conceded. I might have improved as a partner. Jake appeared taken aback. All right, progress. Perhaps we can resolve this maturely. But consider this, Jake. You might have acted as a superior sibling. You could have confided in me, recommended therapy for our union. For that matter, you might have held off till the dissolution was official. Tommy, no. Instead, you opted for clandestine maneuvers, rendering me a laughingstock to the community and alienating my girl from me. I never crossed lines with Emma. You needn't have. You merely allowed her to witness the family's unraveling and persuaded her I bore the blame. Jake advanced, his costly scent wafting over. Your household was shattered long before, Tommy. I merely provided Sarah a way out. A way out. That's your terminology? How else would you phrase it? I grinned, and my look prompted Jake's retreat. I'd label it your gravest error. I departed prior to his reply, abandoning him in the lot, bewildered and faintly anxious. The next day, Saturday, I motored to the bank. Lisa manned the drive-up lane, and our acquaintance dated back to school days. She'd stood as Sarah's attendant at the ceremony. Tommy, how are you managing? A loaded query? I'm holding steady, Lisa. Appreciate the concern. If I can assist in any way, well, actually, yes. Sarah brought up shifting funds for the split process. I'd like clarity on our fiscal setup. Lisa's expression turned impassive. I'm not at liberty to divulge account specifics, Tommy. Naturally, I meant broadly. Any holdings I ought to be informed of. What are you implying? Lately, Sarah's logged extra hours, tackling additional matters. I'm curious if she stashed those earnings in a spot unknown to me. Lisa peered about, then inclined toward the pane. Tommy, I ought not reveal this, but Sarah initiated a distinct account 3 months back. She's funneled funds there weekly. 3 months passed, coinciding with the liaison's onset. The sum. I'm barred from precise figures, but it's considerable. And another detail? What? Jake's contributed to it as well. Significant sums. My grip firmed on the wheel. Grateful for the alert, Lisa. Tommy, tread wisely, all right? This trial's tough, but avoid rash actions. That night, I phoned Emma at Grandma's. Dad, all good. I'm all right, kiddo. I aim to express regret for dispatching you abruptly. You shouldn't have been entangled in this chaos. No worries. Gran's shared tales from your youth with Uncle Jake. Enjoyable ones, hopefully. A mix. Dad, a question. Go ahead. Are you and Mom truly parting? Seems so, dear. Tied to Uncle Jake. I shut my eyes. In part, yet it's intricate, Emma. Mom and I drifted, our shared fault. But Uncle Jake had no place inserting himself, correct? That's Gran's view. Her other thoughts. That Jake coveted your successes, your venture, your kin. She recalls, as boys, he'd sabotage your playthings to deny you joy. Classic mom. She'd always viewed Jake as pampered and self-centered. Emma, regarding those clips you recorded, I get it. Forgive me, Dad. I was furious and figured. No clue what. You figured me feeble, unwilling to resist. Precisely. You could be in for a shock. On Sunday, I attended services after a lengthy absence. Not from sudden piety, but knowing the crowd would include Sarah's superior, Mr. Ricks. Hendricks was upright, maintained an ethical practice, prized his standing locally. He held traditional stances on matters like unfaithfulness. Post-worship, I neared him in the lot. Mr. Hendricks, strong message this morning. Tommy, pleased to encounter you. Word of the separation reached me. My condolences. Thanks. Truth is, I sought your input on a matter. Sarah's pulled extended shifts recently, lingering for testimonies and the like. Just ensuring she isn't straining. Frick seemed perplexed. Extended shifts. Tommy, Sarah's avoided them for months. She's departed ahead of schedule frequently. Is that so? She claimed evening sessions. Not on our docket. Tommy, everything's sound. Increasingly, I doubt it. Mr. Hendricks, should an employee leverage firm hours for private pursuits? That'd merit dismissal, yes. Indeed, termination worthy. Tommy, your point. Suggest you review Sarah's workstation, her search logs, correspondence. Evidence points to her pursuing an intimate connection during work. Frick's demeanor stiffened. Grave claim. Absolutely, sir. Monday dawned with a ring from Pete. Head to the fitness center immediately. Issue Jake's present. Seeks a chat. I discovered Jake striding in Pete's quarters like a trapped beast. His typical neat coif disheveled, attire creased. What have you wrought? He barked upon my arrival. Mourning yourself, Jake. Spare the nonsense, Tommy. What went down with Ricks? I relayed the facts. His top aide misused firm assets for a tryst. Sarah's been dismissed. Rumor has it she's crushed. 2 decades there, now empty-handed. Join the club. Jake neared, flushed with rage. Keep it between us. Exclude Sarah, exclude her. Jake, she's my partner. Or was. Pre your meddling in our bond. Your bond lay in ruins. Perhaps, yet mine to mend or sever. Not yours to dismantle. Pete interposed. Lads, maintain decorum. Decorum, Jake scoffed. Your pal just torpedoed Sarah's livelihood? Zero decorum here. You torpedoed it, I countered. From the instant you entangled her at work. Jake lunged with a fist. I anticipated, evaded, then delivered a rising blow to his jawline. He reeled, collided with Pete's surface, crumpled heavily. Cease! Pete seized my limb as I advanced. Cool it, both. Jake dabbed crimson from his mouth, eyes blazing. This concludes nothing. Correct, I affirmed. Far from it. Post-departure, Pete decanted spirits into mugs. Eased any? Somewhat, yeah. Next step. I'll dismantle them utterly, the duo. Method. I displayed my device, revealing shots from the prior day's lakeside visit. Jake's vehicle curbside. Sarah entering bag-laden. Them on the porch, sipping and chuckling. I'll distribute these widely, commencing with Emma. Pete knit brows, certain. Once released, irreversible. They shamed me openly. Reciprocity now. Later that day, I journeyed to Mom's. Emma lounged outdoors with a novel. Dad, your purpose? To discuss your mom and Jake. Her expression dimmed. Necessary. Affirmative, Emma. Tough as it is, grasp this. Your mom's actions, Jake's involvement, unacceptable. I won't yield passively. Meaning, I presented the images, observed her realization dawn. At his buddy's remote lodge, belonging to Uncle Jake, she murmured, explaining her supposed overtime shift, even as you sat here, viewing your dad as the antagonist in our family drama. Emma burst into tears. The situation had escalated far worse than I'd realized. Your mom initiated divorce proceedings behind my back. She and Jake had orchestrated this for months, transferring funds, arranging their fresh start as a couple. Reconciliation or therapy never crossed their minds. They simply aimed to erase me from the picture. What's your plan? I'll ensure the facts emerge for all to see. If your mother and Jake wish to pose as victims, that's their choice. But it'll happen with full transparency. Emma dabbed at her tears. Could I return home tomorrow? For the moment, I've got tasks ahead. That night, I established profiles on social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok. I uploaded the images next. The accompanying text stayed straightforward. Following 23 years wedded, I discovered my spouse entangled in an affair with my sibling. They've deceived me, our girl, and this entire neighborhood for months. These snapshots capture yesterday's moment when my wife claimed a late work session. I believe the public merits the reality. In under 60 minutes, reactions numbered 50. 2 hours later, shares reached 30. By the stroke of midnight, roughly half the locals were aware. Calls flooded my device starting near 10 p.m. Initially, Sarah's furious tirade over privacy breaches and shaming displays. Next, Jake's legal threats. Then, assorted acquaintances voicing encouragement or probing for extras. I silenced the phone and retired. Come morning, I retrieved Emma from my mom's place. The ride back passed in silence, her gaze fixed outside. Dad, the school's buzzing about those pictures. I'd anticipated as much. Certain folks are hurling harsh words at Mom. Does that bother you? Emma paused deeply. I'm unsure. Resentment boils inside me, yet she's forever my parent. That's clear, Emma. My goal isn't to poison your view of her, but I won't allow her and Jake to distort events and cast me as the fiend. What's next? We observed their response. Patience wasn't required. Upon arrival, Jake's vehicle occupied our drive. He lounged against it, arms folded, radiating anger. Emma, head indoors, I instructed. Dad, now. She complied with hesitation, entering the dwelling. Jake shoved away from his ride and advanced aggressively. You wretched fool. You've ruined Sarah's standing. Sarah wrecked her own standing. I merely recorded it. Those shots occurred on secluded land, a visible public thoroughfare. I stayed off the property entirely. This qualifies as abuse. This represents fallout. Jake invaded my space, near enough to spot veins pulsing in his eyes. Remove those entries, number, erase them, or I'll force the issue. Briefly, violence seemed possible once more. Yet Jake typically favored bluster over deeds. He retreated, adjusting his attire. Believe you've triumphed somehow. Sarah remains devoted to me. Our bond endures. You've only painted yourself as resentful and foolish. Perhaps, yet the facts are out. Facts. The reality paints you as an inadequate partner who repelled his greatest asset. If I failed so utterly as a spouse, why not a straightforward split from Sarah? Why the covert antics, the fabrications? Jake offered no retort. I'll explain, I pressed on. Sarah craved dual benefits. Marital safety with me, alongside excitement from you. She sought to retain the residence, social esteem, economic steadiness, all while indulging discreetly. That's inaccurate. And you enabled it, driven by envy of my achievements. Dad's enterprise, a household, this home, local regard. Unable to forge your path, you opted to plunder mine. Jake's complexion flushed violet with fury. You're clueless on the matter. Am I? Recall our youth, Jake. What befell my scale model aircraft? The one I scrimped for over 3 months? What about it? That model plane. One afternoon post-school, it lay shattered in my room. You claimed ignorance. Decades passed, 30 years now. You smashed it out of spite for my possession over yours, much like dismantling my union because a devoted partner and kin eluded you. Jake parted his lips in protest, then silenced. Truth hung between us. Leave my land, I stated calmly. This concludes nothing. Indeed not. Your turn approaches. Jake sped off, wheels screeching. Inside, Emma perched at the table, visibly rattled. Shouts echoed. Uncle Jake visited to voice his outrage over my online shares. Dad, fear grips me. Suppose he acts recklessly, such as, unclear, assaulting you, U.S. I settled opposite her. Emma, your uncle embodies many flaws, but violence isn't among them. He's a bully who exploits the vulnerable. At worst, he'll spout threats. And Mom, regarding her, will she truly stay away? Gazing at my clever, lovely, bewildered child, trapped amid the chaos. My chest tightened with sorrow. I doubt it, sweetheart. Her decision stands. But suppose she reconsiders, seeks reconciliation. Would you desire that? Emma pondered. I'd yearn for our unit restored, minus the deceit and shadows. I get it. Yet, Emma, should your mom return begging pardon tomorrow, normalcy would evade us. Certain bonds shatter irreparably. That night, Sarah phoned, sobs replacing rage. Tommy, remove those images, I beg. Why? My position vanished. Locals utter vile remarks. Emma faces queries from peers, unfit for her ears. Ponder that prior to the liaison. It was an error. Regret fills me, but this spectacle of shame overwhelms. Does it? From my vantage, it matches the measure. What do you seek? Acknowledge you're no innocent victim. Cease the martyr act. Claim your actions. Agreed. I claim them. The affair occurred, deception toward you, harm to our kin. Satisfied. Approaching it. Tommy, hatred consumes you toward me now. Yet consider Emma. She warrants no such turmoil. Correct. None. She merited guardians resolving issues maturely or parting with grace. Instead, a parent deceived her endlessly, wielding her as cover, unjust. Fairness fled this entirely, Sarah, yet it unfolds. Sarah fell silent briefly and forward. And you endure choice repercussions, as must I with my own. Elaborate. Divorce advances per schedule. Secure employment anew. You and Jake assess if your connection justifies the wreckage. Emma resides here. Nearing 18, she's witnessed infidelity's toll on households sufficiently. You can't bar her from me. I'm not barring, nor compelling her to balance allegiance to me against ties to you. Yours to mend. Post-call, in the lounge, I truly surveyed it after months. This abode served as our haven 15 years. Sarah and I adorned these surfaces, selected these pieces, celebrated occasions from birthdays to holidays and study nights. Presently, it resembled a site of violation. Subsequent days ushered varied callers. Allies included kind locals who'd favored me, workplace pals deeming Sarah and Jake's deeds excessive. Gossips sought specifics for their circles. Most intriguing arrived Mrs. Patterson, the 85-year-old street veteran versed in all affairs. Tommy, she noted over kitchen brew. A revelation's due. What is it, Mrs. Patterson? Your siblings eyed wedded unions for years. Mary Kowalski, 3 doors away. Her mate uncovered Jake's unseemly text to her 2 years back. It fizzled as Mary rebuffed. But Jake exhibits a habit. He pursues wedded females, particularly discontented ones. Sport for him. Why the silence? Mrs. Patterson lifted her shoulders. Folks tend their affairs. Till lately, what's shifted? You countered. Typically, males retreat in such crises. They vacate, remit support, fade. You broadcasted. Transformed it communal. Their burden, too. That night, Antonelli's rang. Jake dismissed. Post-viral images. Women's staff recounted misconduct. The eatery shunned the notoriety. A twinge of vindication hit. Then remorse. Had I morphed into one reveling in misery? Recalling Jake's arrogant smirk, dismissing Sarah's fit with me quelled it. On Friday, precisely 1 week post-images, authorities knocked. Officer Martinez, our high school peer with Jake and me. Tommy, queries on claims. What claims? Jake lodged an abuse report. Alleges stalking, menaces, job sabotage. I chuckled. Omit his betting my wife? That's lawful, Tommy. Abuse constitutes any statutes I violated, Martinez. Snapping figures sans permission. Public path, figures on a porch in plain sight. deems legal. Martinez exhaled. Listen, I'm not showing up to cuff you or anything like that. I'm just warning you to ease up. Cut it out with whatever's going on and get back to your routine. As for me, I'm moving forward too, only in the open. Tommy Martinez, your spouse cheated on you with your own sibling. For months, she deceived you, shamed you before the entire community, and launched divorce proceedings without any effort to salvage the relationship. The moment you pushed back, out of nowhere, you're painted as the villain. No one's calling you the villain here. Still, this whole spectacle isn't good for you or for Emma. Emma's doing all right. In fact, she's thriving now that she doesn't have to hide her mom's deceptions any longer. Once Martinez departed, I reached out to Pete. Cops stopped by, I mentioned. Concerning what? Jake submitted a report about mistreatment. Are you mistreating him? I shared a few pictures and spoke honestly. If that counts as mistreatment, then sure, I suppose so. Tommy, perhaps you ought to tone it down some. You've gotten your message across. Have I really? Since Jake's still got his place to live, his bank account, his liberty. Sarah's out of work, though she'll land something else soon. So where's the true fallout? What exactly are you after, man? Revenge. I need them to forfeit it all, just like I forfeited everything. You haven't forfeited it all. Emma's with you, your company, this home. My union's shattered, my household's in ruins. My girl endured months believing I was some worthless failure. My brother himself betrayed me from behind. Right, Pete. I forfeited all that truly counted. Pete stayed silent briefly. So, what's your ultimate goal in this? Not sure yet, but I'll recognize it once it appears. That weekend marked Emma's initial campus admission discussion. She'd submitted applications to 3 institutions, each costly, each demanding major scholarships or family backing. How'd it turn out? I inquired as she returned. Pretty well, I believe. But Dad, they inquired about our home dynamics. Seems my TikTok clips have gained more notoriety than I'd realized. What did you say to them? The facts. That our household's navigating a split, and I handled it with some regrettable decisions. The examiner appeared empathetic. That's positive. Dad, mind if I pose a question? Go ahead. Will you ever pardon Mom? I pondered it. Hard to say, Emma. Pardon isn't a choice you make. It either arrives or it doesn't. Do you wish to pardon her? I wish to cease obsessing over her. I want to arise one day without dwelling on her actions, her location, or her companions. That differs from pardon, yet it could prove superior. And Uncle Jake. Jake's a separate matter. Your mom was discontented and opted for poor decisions. Jake, though, fully understood his moves. He aimed to wound me, and he succeeded. So now you're set on inflicting pain in return until he grasps that deeds carry repercussions. Come Monday, Sarah's attorney rang me. Mr. Briggs, let's talk about the separation agreement. What's on your mind? My client's prepared to relinquish any rights to your company holdings for a swift, no-contest split. Any strings attached? None. She simply desires closure, regarding the residence too. She'll transfer it to you. She only seeks her personal items and vehicle. It seemed a solid arrangement, superior to what I'd anticipated. Then why the sensation of a trap? I'll mull it over, I replied. One thing, Mr. Briggs. My client's also open to issuing a public declaration assuming complete blame for the infidelity. If that aids your online presence, there it lay. Sarah aimed to halt my updates about her. Inform your client I'll weigh her proposal, but I require that declaration up front. That night, Sarah phoned me herself. Tommy, I'm begging you to quit sharing about us, truly. Why the sudden plea? Finally wearied of the spotlight. I'm exhausted from dodging stares at the market. I'm drained from Emma facing interrogations at classes. I'm sick of this existence. How do you imagine I coped for those 4 months of your deceit? I get it. God, I'm apologetic. So incredibly sorry. But this needs to end. Must it? Please, in the split, I'll yield it all. The dwelling, the vehicles, Emma's guardianship. merely cease broadcasting it. And Jake, what of him? What's he facing? Does he escape with mere mild rebuke? Tommy. Jake's jobless now. His standing's demolished. He's mulling relocation. Excellent. Please, this has gone far enough, I reflected. Sarah proposed all I could sensibly demand from the proceedings. Jake was skulking away in shame. My online shares had fulfilled their role, yet an unfinished edge lingered. I'll cease the posts, I conceded at last. But the existing ones stay. All right, appreciate it, Sarah. Yeah. When crafting that open declaration, ensure it notes Emma bore no part. She was merely a youth trapped amid it, naturally. After ending the call, I lingered in the kitchen, puzzling over my lack of fulfillment. I'd triumphed, correct. Sarah surrendered it all. Jake was exiting the area, and the facts of the saga were public knowledge. Then, why the hollowness? Next dawn, I motored to the lakeside retreat where those images were captured. It was Jake's pal Dave's property, whom I'd befriended back in secondary school. Dave tinkered with his pier as I arrived. Tommy, didn't anticipate your visit? Hi, Dave. Fine spot. Appreciate that. Dave appeared uneasy. Regarding Jake and your spouse? I was unaware they borrowed my spot. Had I known, I'd have intervened. Absolutely. That's not its purpose. I trusted him. Dave was forthright, consistently so. Did Jake escort other ladies here? I queried. Dave paused. For what reason? Merely wondering. Several across the years. Typically wedded, though I lacked awareness then. How many, Tommy? What's the intent? How many exactly, Dave? 3 or 4, possibly additional. Tommy. Jake claimed they were parted or wed no more, or who knows. I avoided deep probes, 3 or 4, potentially extra. Mrs. Patterson's observation on Jake's habits rang true. Dave, possess any identifiers? For what purpose would you seek them, since certain spouses merit the reality? Dave eyed me extendedly. You're unwilling to release this, huh? Would you? He vanished inside the lodge and returned bearing a ledger. Jake habitually inscribed the visitor log upon usage. Most females followed suit. I scanned the entries. Jake's mark recurred scores of instances across the prior 3 years, nearly every time paired with a female's mark. Certain labels I knew. Local wedded females. Others unfamiliar. Dave, may I snap images of these? Unsure, Tommy. This risks complication. It's already entangled. I'm ensuring all grasp the extent. Dave yielded grudgingly to the shots of pertinent sections. Then I headed back and initiated contacts. Initial outreach went to Bill Henderson, whose partner Margaret had logged in 6 occasions in the last year. Bill, Tommy Briggs here. We must converse on a topic. By week's close, I'd informed 5 spouses. 3 harbored suspicions of spousal infidelity already. 2 remained oblivious. Each sought further details. I arranged a gathering at Pete's Fitness Center that Saturday evening. 6 fellows whose partners Jake had lured, alongside Pete and myself. Folks, I began, surveying the ring of portable seats. We face an issue. Bill Henderson spoke first. Margaret's fibbed to me across 8 months, claiming visits to her sibling in the urban area. Linda claimed art lessons, noted Mike Torres. Apparently, her sole lesson was evasion tactics. Every fellow recounted alike tales. Jake encountered their partners at gatherings, displayed charm and focus, then advanced to secluded encounters and ultimate liaisons. He persuaded them their spouses undervalued them, they warranted superior, and their acts weren't true infidelity as their bonds were defunct. So, our response, Bill queried. We ensure the community perceives Jake Briggs's true nature, I stated, by sharing our narratives, collectively, openly. Mike Torres demurred. I won't haul my kin through such disgrace. Your kin's already disgraced, I countered. The sole query is permitting Jake's escape. Tommy's spot on, Bill affirmed. Silence lets Jake shift locales and recommence. How many additional households will he dismantle? In the ensuing hour, we devised our approach. No unlawful acts, no aggression, merely open reckoning. Each would draft an account of Jake's conduct pattern. We'd upload to networks, dispatch to regional outlets, guarantee the locale comprehended Jake Briggs as a pursuer of wedded females. Our partners, Mike inquired. What of them? I responded. They selected their paths. Now they endure the outcomes. They ought to have weighed the disgrace prior to infidelity. Not all embraced the scheme. 2 departed unpledged, yet 4 of us committed. Sunday saw our declarations released in unison. 6 accounts of disloyalty, unified by 1 antagonist. Reactions surged swift and vast. Jake's line went dead by Monday morning, his residence vacated by Tuesday. By Wednesday, reports held he'd vacated the region fully. Sarah rang that night, enraged. You promised to halt the shares. I did cease. Others commenced. You orchestrated this. I disseminated details. Their usage was voluntary. Tommy, it's excessive. Jake's vanished. Sufficient. Is it for you? Your intent? Are you content with the resolution? You pursued your liaison. Detection followed. Employment gone. Standing shattered. Paramore absconded over repercussions. That your desired finale. Sarah wept. I hadn't envisioned an ending quite like this one. What kind of resolution had you pictured? For a moment I figured there might be a way to resolve matters peacefully. The lot of us conducting ourselves maturely. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Our little trio. Sarah, you'd been intimately involved with my brother. It was impossible to imagine us sharing a meal at the table, posing as one harmonious clan. My affection for him was genuine. You, though, craved the thrill. You savored the sensation of being wanted. You relished the thrill of concealment. Yet authentic affection doesn't prowl in shadows, fabricate falsehoods, or shatter households. And your actions at this moment, is that affection? Hardly. This amounts to retribution, retaliation. At times, the two blur into one. The ensuing weeks passed in stillness. Sarah relocated to her family's home in a neighboring town. The dissolution of our marriage proceeded smoothly, devoid of turmoil. Emma launched into her final high school year, chin up, unburdened by her mother's concealed truths. I resumed my job, embracing fresh assignments, even adding another team member. Surprisingly, my enterprise thrived more than it had in recent months. It seemed the role of the betrayed spouse in a widely known disgrace garnered pity from prospective clients. Yet a void lingered inside me, an echoing emptiness, as if I'd triumphed in battle, yet sacrificed my core identity along the way. One October night, Emma discovered me in the garage, gazing at Father's vintage truck. Its motor was complete, had been for some time, yet I'd neglected to ignite it. Dad, everything all right? Merely reflecting on Mom, and on numerous matters. Emma perched on the bench nearby. Do you long for her? I pondered the question earnestly. I yearned for the version of her I imagined, for the existence I believed we'd shared. But the true Sarah, capable of deceiving me directly for so long, no, not her. Do you second-guess your choices? The images, the online shares, everything. Do I what? At times, yes. Pity stirs for Mom, despite my lingering anger, and for those other spouses as well. They erred gravely, yet they aren't the antagonists here. Are you? I regarded my daughter, perceptive, contemplative, grappling to comprehend a grown-up realm that must have appeared chaotic and harsh. I'm uncertain, Emma. Perhaps so. Perhaps each of us plays the antagonist in personal tales. Or perhaps heroes simply don't exist. That evening, slumber evaded me. Emma's words on protagonists, antagonists, and the blurred territory between them echoed relentlessly. I considered Sarah at 43, residing with her folks anew, commencing afresh with emptiness. I pictured those fellow wives striving to mend unions or confronting their separations. I envisioned their children witnessing familial collapse, and Jake, in whatever locale he hid, likely portraying himself as the victim of a spiteful former kin. At 3 a.m., I rose and headed to the garage. I twisted the ignition in Father's truck, and its power surged vibrantly on the initial attempt. 2 decades of effort, and it hummed precisely as intended. I cruised Medford's deserted roads, by the dwellings of my youth, the academy where Sarah and I first crossed paths, the chapel of our vows. For 45 years, this community had encompassed my universe. Now, it resembled a site of transgression. I halted at the lakeside, where Dave's lodge loomed shadowy and vacant. Jake would shun this place forever. No more families in town would suffer his interference. Did that constitute triumph, equity, or merely the barren glee of someone who'd raised his surroundings to assert a principle? I lingered waterside till dawn, then returned to prepare Emma's morning meal before her classes. Existence persisted. It invariably does. 2 months on, a note arrived from Jake. Absent sender details. Stamped from Florida somewhere. Tommy, it began. You'll likely discard this unread, but I needed to attempt it. My regrets extend beyond mere discovery, for my deeds themselves. You're correct. Envy gnawed at your possessions. I'm delving into why I opted to dismantle rather than construct my path. It may hold no weight today, but Sarah's love for you was sincere. She wandered astray, and I exploited that vulnerability. Perhaps one day, pardon for us both. I scanned the message twice, then tucked it into the kitchen cabinet amid routine correspondence. No reply ever came. Emma earned admission to her top university pick, bolstered by a partial grant. The balance drew from loans and my reserves, funds Sarah had hidden for her fresh start, with Jake redirected to fuel Emma's studies. Dad, Emma remarked during commencement, this past year was wretched, yet it taught me a vital lesson, which is that households fall short of flawlessness. Individuals falter, often catastrophically, but that doesn't halt the battle for essentials. And those essentials: honesty, fidelity, defending one's stance no matter the difficulty. That vacation season, Emma departed for campus. I assisted with her residence setup, encountered her dorm mate, snapped the customary snapshots. As I departed, she embraced me firmly. Dad, your pride inspires me. In what regard? For enduring without vanishing amid the wreckage. For countering, for demonstrating that pain from others needn't render you passive. I motored back to a silent home, settling in the kitchen amid 23 years' recollections. Images of anniversaries, holidays, trips, a facade of bliss, inwardly decaying. I mulled phoning Pete, heading to the fitness center, or seeking distraction from the quiet. Instead, the garage beckoned. I tackled a recent acquisition, a bike from a sale, pondering a shift in pursuits. As I toiled, awareness dawned. Transformation had occurred. Months after, my mind strayed from Sarah, Jake, reprisal. My focus lay in manual labor, restoring the damaged, rendering it complete. Perhaps sufficiency resided there. Perhaps triumph emerged thus. Perhaps that's the path from victimhood to self-reclamation. The line buzzed, Emma from school, sharing tales of courses, acquaintances, her budding routine. Our chat spanned an hour, skirting the split, the infidelity, the exposed shame that marked our clan's close. Upon disconnecting, a grin formed. After a year, genuine amusement returned. Beyond, Mrs. Patterson strolled her pet. She signaled. I reciprocated. Come morning, work awaited. Construction ahead. This coming weekend, a meal with Pete, perhaps a film. Next month, a campus trip to see Emma. My days would unfold rewarding, forged through struggle. They branded me antagonist. I bore the label more authentically than their deceptions ever did. The conclusion.